No reason for them to chop it up after what they said they're gonna do.
Oh yeah, Khalil.
Like he like I was suddenly for those who want to learn, find that the presentation is so much because they make an effort to learn. Most of them nobody to learn other things that they know. Whatever it is,
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم، وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وبعد. Here we give thanks and praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him because He is worthy of all praise, and we thank Him for His numerous favors and bounties for which He has showered us, and we seek His mercy and His forgiveness and His guidance. And lastly, give Him thanks for bringing us together once again to study His word and to gain from it. And we pray that He will open our hearts and our minds to benefit therefrom. We're still on Surah Yusuf, Surah 12, and we did up to Ayah 61, I think, in our last session, inshallah, and today we'll continue with Ayah 62. وقال لفتيانه اجعلوا بضاعتهم في رحالهم لعلهم يعرفونها إذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم لعلهم يرجعون. فلما رجعوا إلى أبيهم قالوا يا أبانا منع منا الكيل ما الكيل فأرسل معنا أخانا نقتل وإنا له لحافظون قال هل آمنتكم عليه إلا كما أمنتكم على أخيه من قبل فالله خير حافظا وهو أرحم الراحمين فلما فتحوا متاعهم وجدوا بضاعتهم ردت إليهم قالوا يا أبانا ما نبغي هذه بضاعتنا ردت إلينا ونمير أهلنا ونحفظ أخانا ونزداد كيل بعير ذلك كيل يسير قال لن أرسله معكم حتى تؤتوني موثقا من الله لتأتونني به إلا أن يحاط بكم فلما آتوه موثقهم قال الله على ما نقول وكيل. Translation reads, and Yusuf told his servants to put their money into their bags so they might know it when they go back to their people in order that they might come again. So when they returned to their father, they said, "O our father, no more measure of grain shall we get unless we take our brother. So send our brother with us, and we shall get our measure, and truly we will guard him." He said, "Can I entrust him to you except as he entrusted his brother to you aforetime? But Allah is the best to guard, and he is the most merciful of those who show mercy." And when they opened their bags, they found their money had been returned to them. They said, "O our father, what more can we desire? This is our money has been returned to us. So we shall get more food for our family, and we shall guard our brother and add one more measure of a camel's blood. This quantity is easy for us." He, Yaqub, said, "I will not send him with you until you swear a solemn oath to me in Allah's name that you will bring him back to me unless you yourselves are surrounded by enemies." And when they had sworn their solemn oath, he said, "Allah is the witness to what we have said." We're still on the discourse about Yusuf and his brothers. And in connecting from what we did in our last session, we know that when they came to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, he treated them very well. And of course, he had discussions with them about themselves, who they were, and their family, and things like this, so that he can gain knowledge. Because soon they came, he recognized them the moment they came in, but they did not recognize him, right? Because they had given him up when he was young, and they had not seen him. They sold him into slavery, actually. They really don't know what the people did with him. They probably thought maybe he might be dead. So they really didn't know what was the situation or the circumstance with him after they sold him to the caravan. And so they did not recognize him. And even if he survived, here they're speaking to the Aziz. They're speaking to the chief minister of the country of Israel, of Egypt. He's speaking to the chief minister, the chief under the king. So, I mean, selling him into slavery, how could he be in such a position? So they wouldn't even think that this is Yusuf. But so they did not recognize him, but he recognized them, and so he discussed with them the family and stuff like that. So he gained the knowledge that his father is the health of his father, the condition of his father, and his brother, his younger brother. And then he told them, look, you need to bring your brother, because he wants to see his brother. You need to bring your brother, and if you don't bring your brother, I think that you'll be like that. You are liars. You'll be lying that you have all that you told me. I'll take it as a lie, and I'm not going to give you any measure if you don't bring your brother. So you need to bring your brother, so I can see that you are speaking the truth. And so he told his servants, right? وقال لفتيانه اجعلوا بضاعتهم في رحالهم. And Yusuf said to his servants, put their merchandise back into their bags. Put their merchandise back into their bags. Or, into their saddle bags, so that they might recognize it when they return home to their people. In other words, put it in without their realizing that it is there. Put it in their bags in such a way so that they don't know. Don't let them see you put it in the bag. Right? Don't let them see you put it back in their bags, but put it in their bags so that they would recognize it once they get home. Because he doesn't want them to see it there. Otherwise, they might say, well, why you giving back our money and stuff like that. And so, but he wants that they only come on it when they reach home. And so he's going to put it in the bags so that when they see it, they recognize it, that there's a return to them. This might give them more incentive to come back. They will give them more incentive to come back and bring their brother with them. They will come back and bring their brother with them. He wants to make sure that they understand this. And so Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, in ordering his servants to secretly hide the brothers' merchandise into their bags, he did, and he didn't want to find it until they got home. He hoped that showing this kind of generosity to them, because he warned them already, I'm not going to give you, but then he gave them generosity. He returned all their property. So when they get home, he gave them full measure, and then he gave them extra to go with. But now when they go home, now they actually see, yes, more generosity, that this would encourage them to come and bring their brother Benjamin with them. And so this is basically what he wanted from them by doing this. فَلَمَّا رَجَعُوا إِلَىٰ أَبِيهِمْ, so when they returned home to their father, قالوا, they said, يَا أَبَانَا, O our father, مُنِيَ مِنَّا الْكَيْلِ, the measure has been prohibited to us. They tell us we will get no more measure of grain. They will not give us any unless we bring our brother with us. We have to bring our brother Benjamin with us so that we can get more supplies from him. So we have to, أرسل معنا, so please send him with us. So here they are beseeching their father, begging their father to send their brother with them when they go next time, to send their brother with them so that they're able to gain. He says, أرسل معنا أخانا, send our brothers with us, naqtal, so that we are able to get some stuff. We have to get our measures from the people. And indeed, certainly, we shall be his guardian. We'll take good care of him. We'll look out for him. We'll be his guardian and take care of him. And so they are trying to convince their father that this is, in sending him, he need not worry. He need not worry, as they're pleading, let the young brother Benjamin accompany them on the next trip. And so the question was raised. Here a question was raised before we continue that, as to why Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam gave them back the merchandise. And as I said, one position is that as a form of generosity to encourage them to come and bring their brother again. And another suggested that Yusuf, not being sure of the circumstances or situation, think that they might not have enough to come again, enough merchandise or money to come and purchase again, so he give them back. So like, there's no reason for you not to come again, because now you have your money, so you can come again. Right? So they said, it is either for the generosity, and it could be both, or to make sure that they don't have an excuse not to come by not having enough money. And so he gave them the money back that they had, whatever merchandise that they bought to trade with, that he put it back to them. Another question that was raised in this context as to Yusuf, that the Tafsir talked about in this context before she continued, was that Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam did not make any effort to let his father know that he was alive. He never made any effort to make his father know that he was alive. Even after he was sold, he was taken to Egypt, and he was in the house of the Aziz, and he was in the prison, and he came out triumphantly. In all these circumstances, he never sent a message to his father. And then when his brothers came, he never made himself known to them so that they can take news back to their father. And so the question was, they were discussing this particular point as to why would he do this, right? Knowing that his father would be brokenhearted over his loss. And the scholar says, well, this is obvious. The only obvious and sensible answer was that this was an instruction from Allah to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam not to send any information to him. So that Yusuf, the plan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had for Yusuf will play out the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to play out. And two, that this was a test for Yaqub in his patience, because he knew Yusuf was not dead. He knew he wasn't dead. He just didn't know what happened to him. Right? He went, once he saw the shirt, the coat that they brought home, full of blood, is full of blood, but no tear in it. After Wolf had eaten him, he must tear the shirt up. He's not going to, he's not going to eat him and leave the shirt nice and good. So he knows that Yusuf wasn't dead, right? Based on the evidence that they produced. He saw it was false evidence. And so he knew Yusuf was not dead, but he did not know exactly what happened to him. Right? He didn't know what happened to Yusuf, what they did with him. They didn't know. So maybe he got lost or whatever. What they did with him, he doesn't know. So he knew Yusuf is alive, right? From this. But so this was his test of faith, his test of patience that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was testing him. So the scholars say that, it's twofold from this. That one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not let Yusuf contact his father to let him know anything that is alive and his condition, his situation, or anything that he did not know. He did not show himself to his brothers so that they would know of his situation to take any news back. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had his plan. This was the plan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to keep it, to continue with this particular plan. And two, that it was part of Allah's test for Prophet Yaqub over his son. It was his test over his son. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always tests the prophets. The prophets are tested more than anybody else. The prophets are tested, as Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained to us. He said the prophets are tested more than anyone else, right? Because they are the best of humanity, and they are the ones specially chosen by Almighty God Allah to guide humanity. And therefore, their test is greater than the average person. Their test is greater than the average person. And we know so many cases of, we see it, even the life of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who we have more detail of all the prophets. Of all the prophets, we have the most details about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We know details, very small, minute details of his life has been recorded, whereas we just have general points about the early messengers and prophets. But the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he of all the prophets, he's the only one that has that. Details of his life has been preserved. So both by friend and foe, right? Both by friend and foe, that everyone actually can pick up a book and read the details of the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From his description, how he looked, to his likes and dislikes, right? How he dressed, everything, all the little details about has been preserved about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that it is possible for us to know the Prophet and to understand who he was and to follow him. Right? It is possible. That's why those persons who do not accept hadith knows nothing about the Prophet. They can't claim to know anything about the Prophet, because that is where the details and stories and things about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is recorded. It is in the hadith. It's not found in the Quran, right? The life of the Prophet is not mentioned in the Quran. It's found in the Hadith, right? In the book of Hadith and in the books of Sirah. So if you do not accept Hadith, then basically your knowledge is extremely limited concerning what Islam is all about and who the Prophet is. So it's not the best position to take if you really want to be a follower of the Prophet Muhammad. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then this was the understanding that the scholars gave in relation to this. And so here they are, the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam is giving the surety to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to their father Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, inna lahu lahafidhun. Son or brother, indeed we shall be his guardians. We can take care of him. This is the same argument or the same commitment that they gave to him when they said, send Yusuf with us tomorrow so that we can plan and recreate and enjoy himself. But in Allah, we can protect him. He'll be his guardian, we take care of him. So this is what they said about Yusuf, right? And of course, his father now ready to bring up this back. To them, that he's raising the same concern that what I said about Yusuf in Ayah 12, right? What I said in Ayah 12 of the Surah. And so me and the father, he doesn't, but Imam Prophet Yaqub, he don't really trust their word because you made this before and look what you happened. Look what you did. All right? Look what you did. You broke your word and use your brother. So, what will make you think that, make me think that you will do anything different? And this is why he said, قال هل آمنتكم عليه إلا كما آمنتكم على أخيه من قبل. He said, shall I trust you with regard to him as I trusted you before regarding his brother Yusuf? What guarantee I have? I trusted you before and look what happened. And so he raised this particular point with them again, right? He raised this point with them at this point. But then he concluded, he says, فَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ حَافِظًا وَاللَّهُ خَيْرٌ حَافِظًا وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. Here he says, Allah is the best guardian and He is the most merciful of the merciful. So while Yaqub reminds his sons about their mistrust, right, or his displaced trust with them, right? It was displaced because he trusted them when they says, "Look, inna lawla hafidun," concerning Yusuf. Indeed, we'll be his guardian and look after him. His trust was misplaced. So he reminded them of his mistrust of them now because of his displaced trust with them before. His trust before was displaced. So he reminded them that he mistrusts them, but at the same time, he corrects their understanding that the only one truly worthy of trust, or the only truly trustworthy person, is Allah. Only Allah is trustworthy, that you can actually trust Him and depend on Him. So you saying that you're going to be guardians from Allah is the best guardian. Allah is the best hafiz. He's the best. So I'm think I'm not going to trust you, but I trust Allah. I trust Allah. I'm not going to trust you, but I will trust Allah. وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. He's the most merciful, that He will be merciful to me. I know my condition, He knows my situation, and He will be merciful to me and bring back my son, because He knows what happened. What happened to Yusuf before. So my Lord, I depend on His mercy, and because He's the best to protect. He's the best to take care of one's affairs when you put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a very important principle that he emphasizes here. Right? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْحَيِّ الَّذِي لَا يَمُوتُ. So put your trust on the ever-living who never dies. Put your trust on the ever-living who never dies. Tawakkal al-hayy alladhi la yamut. Put your trust on the ever-living who never dies. And he repeats over and over, Allahi falyatawakkal al-mu'minun, and let the believers, on Allah, let the believers place their trust. So that trust is one of the important elements of ibadah. Trust is one, tawakkul, right? At-tawakkul in Arabic, say at-tawakkul. At-tawakkul is one of the important elements of ibadah. There are many aspects of ibadah. At-tawakkul is one of those aspects of ibadah. That we put trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all inevitabilities. We put trust in Allah for all inevitabilities because we know that He alone is capable and have the wherewithal to take care of any eventuality. He's able to take care of any eventuality. That is his power. And so we put our trust in Allah because he can do it. And even those people who say they don't believe in God because it's convenient for them. Right? It's convenient for them to say, I don't believe in God. Right? It's easy to say. All right? So they say that. But when they find themselves in a spot, when they know that there ain't nobody who can get them out of it but Almighty God, then they say, oh God, help me. They call on God at that time. And they recognize and acknowledge God at that time. Why? Because at that time of dire straits, they know that no one has the capacity or the ability to help them as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can. And so they sincerely turn to God and ask for help. Even though after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps them, they don't give him thanks. They wouldn't give him thanks. They would thank and praise somebody else and not praise Allah and give him thanks, even though he helped them out of a spot that no one else could help them out. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still helped them because, and you always say, you know what, then why Allah does help them still? Allah will still help them. Knowing that this is the situation, he still help them. The reality is, if Allah don't help them, who can? Who would? There nobody. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Rahman. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Rahman. He's not just Ar-Rahim, but he's Ar-Rahman. Because then nobody else can help you in those circumstances and situations other than him. And so he will help because he's Ar-Rahman. He is Ar-Rahman. If he doesn't, who will? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't do this. People go and do it, and they get into trouble, and then they call on Allah, and Allah still help them. Even though they willingly disobey him. May Allah protect us. Because Allah is Ar-Rahman. Allah is Ar-Rahman. He is the greatest benefactor of humanity, the greatest benefactor of his creation. He takes care because there's nobody else to take care or to care but him. No one else. And so Yaqub alayhi salatu salam, Jacob is reminding his sons of this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care because he is the most merciful and compassionate one. He is the most merciful and compassionate one. And so he's the one I will depend on to safeguard and to protect my son. And so after they had this big discussion and stuff with his father, with the father, updating him on what went down and stuff like that, then they turned to their luggage that they bought, the stuff that they bought. فَلَمَّا فَتَحُوا مَتَاعَهُمْ وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ رُدَّتْ إِلَيْهِمْ. So when they now opened the baggage, they found that the merchandise that they took with them to purchase the stuff, that it was returned to them. Right? It was returned to them. They know that this was not a mistake, that this was deliberately put there because of, they paid it, they give it up, and now they find it back hidden in their bags. So they know it was deliberately put there. Right? They know it was deliberately put there. Right? And so they exclaimed to their father, Kalu, they said, Ya Abana, ma nabghi hadi, ma nabghi. He says, oh, our father, what can we hope for? What more? What more do we can we desire, or what more can we ask for? Look here. بدعتنا ردت إلينا. هذه بدعتنا ردت إلينا. This is the opportunity that we took to person. Look, they give it back to us. They give it back to us. In other words, we got it back. Everything. Right? They didn't take anything. They give us a full measure and some extra, and still they give us back our stuff. The Aziz definitely is a good man. And we find good, we seem to have found good favor with him. Right? We seem to have found good favor with him. Right? Yeah, they didn't know it was Yusuf. Of course, they didn't know Yusuf is their brother. Right? So they're trying now to convince their father that this was indeed a good sign. This is a good sign that they found favor with the Aziz of Egypt. He's kind, he was generous to us, he treated us well, he took care of us, he gave us stuff, he filled up fulfillment, and he also gave us back our stuff. He gave us back our stuff. This means that there's no real need to be apprehensive in sending our brother with us. No need to be apprehensive, because look, he's been good to us. All right? هذه بضرة إلينا ونمير أهلنا. So we have extra means now to buy more food. Yeah? We have extra means so we can buy more food when we go. Right? We can buy more. ونحفظ أخانا, and indeed we will guard our brother. We will be guardians and take care of our brother. وَنَزْدَادُ كَيْلَ بَعِيرٍ, and we can even get an extra camel load of grain. Because we know that Yusuf at promised, Yusuf was given 1 camel load per person. So we take him with us, we get an extra load of camel. So not only we can buy extra food, but we also get an extra load. So here they're using these arguments to convince their father, this is the best thing, send him with us. Right? Send him with us so that we're able to achieve this. We will be able to buy extra food for the family, and we will be able to bring an extra load. Let us begin an extra camel load of grain from the Aziz, because he's given 1 load, camel load per person. So we bring him, and then we will have things. And besides that, we'll take good care of him. We are going to take good care of our brother, and we will not repeat what we did before with Yusuf. So you don't have to worry. Send him with us, and we will be able to. So the father, after listening to their arguments and, a discussion with the points that they put forward concerning their brother, he said to them, قال لن أرسله معكم حتى تؤتوني موثقا من الله لتأتونني به إلا أن يحاط بكم. He said to them, never will I send him with you. Lan, right, is it's called lan is a half nafi, is a what you call it, a particle of negation. Particle of negation in the future. Which meaning never. I never send him with you. Right? So he's making it clear to them. I have no real intention of ever sending him with you, except. Right? So he make this now. Right? So he's letting them know. If I send him with you, it's not because I want to. Right? It's not because I want to send him with you. I don't trust you. And I don't want to lose my son. So it is not, I never would have sent him with you, right? In this man, never will I send him with you. حتى tu'ni mawthika min Allah. Until or unless you give me a solemn oath by Allah that you can bring him back. Until and unless and until you give me a solemn oath by Allah, you swear by Allah that you can bring him back. You give him a solemn oath by Allah that you can bring him back to me. And he says, acknowledging that people, give promises, but, we do not control circumstances. Right? We do not control circumstances. So we give a solemn oath and commitment, yes, but we do not control circumstances. Only Allah controls circumstances. Right? Only Allah control the circumstances. So we might have good intention to do it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in his wisdom, he changes the circumstance. He changed the circumstance, and we're not able to achieve what we intended. So Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, Jacob, the prophet Jacob, he acknowledges this aspect. He recognizes that people might make the commitment, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who controls the circumstances. Okay? But this is what tawakkul is all about. You understand? This is what tawakkul is all about. Tawakkul means ittikhadh al-asbab, utilization of the means that Allah has placed at your disposal, and then putting your trust on Allah that he will bring it through. That is what tawakkul is. Tawakkul isn't that you put your hands in your lap and sit down and hope that Allah will work it out. You don't do nothing. You don't make no effort. You sit down with your hands in your lap and you trust Allah to bring it through, to sort it out for you. It don't work like that. You want a fish, then get your fishing rod or your fishing net and go to the water and put a nice bait on it. Don't just put an empty hook in the water, because the fish can say, you think I crazy or what? Fish will laugh at you. Right? You put a nice bit of food, worm or something on there to attract his attention, and he can come and grab the worm. And so you catch a fish. You do what you want, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will create the circumstances whereby you might get a nice big fish, or maybe a small one, or maybe many, or maybe a little. But you will get, because you did the work, you did what you needed to do. You utilize the means at your disposal. Right? As I said, the circumstances is controlled by Allah. So it doesn't mean that because you took your rod or you took your fishing net and you put a nice bait on it and you put it, it doesn't mean that because you did this, you will catch a fish. It doesn't mean that. Right? Because circumstances are controlled by Allah. But you know that, but tawakkul is that these are the means that Allah placed at your disposal to do. So you do them. And now you depend that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to put a big fish on you. That is what tawakkul is. That is what tawakkul is. But if you don't do that and you sit down in your house and you want a fish and you want to eat fish, it ain't going to happen. Especially if you're able-bodied. It's different if you are incapacitated and you can't go and do it. You're incapacitated and you can't get out to utilize those means. So your dependence is only on Allah. Allah I can't do it. I can't go and get no fish, but could you send a fish for me? Allah will send a fish for you. Right? Allah will send a fish for you because the only means you have is to make dua. Allah, please send a fish for me. Because you're incapacitated. You can't go out and take no hook and go to the water and catch no fish. Right? You have no means. You're not able to do that. So Allah, yes. Your means utilize the only means you have is to make dua. Oh, Allah, please send a fish for me. That's the means. So utilize that means, Allah wants to send a fish for you. But if you're able to utilize the means, other means, you can go, then you have to do that. That is what is called tawakkul. This is what's called tawakkul. It's like some story I heard, right? Some story I heard, someone told a story. They said that this individual, he went out to sea and his boat sank and he's there in the water, drowned in the water, and he made prayer and he asked and he says, Almighty God, please save me. Please save me. And a ship passed by, a boat passed by, and to tell him, come, he says, my Lord will save me. My Lord will save me. So the boat went, and the next one came, and he said, my Lord will save me. And the third one came, and he said, my Lord will save me. And then he drowned. And then he stand before his Lord, and his Lord said, what happened? He says, oh, my Lord, I asked you to save me, and you didn't. It's by sent 3 boats. I sent 3 boats, and you didn't get any of them. So you get your own punishment, right? So the reality is that while it might just be a thing, the moral is to tell you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He provides the means. You utilize it and you put your trust in Allah and you move. You move forward. You put your trust in Allah and you move forward. That is how it goes. And so he's telling you that you give me a solemn oath. I will not send him until you give me a solemn oath that you will go. Illa you have to become. This is the exception. Except you are surrounded or overpowered or overcome by circumstances, whether it be an enemy or whatever the case might be. Right? Unless you have to become, unless you're, literally means you're surrounded or overwhelmed or overcome, either by an enemy or by circumstances, whatever. In other words, it was out of your ability. It was out of your ability. You did your best. You did your best. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had another plan because Allah controlled the circumstances. Allah controlled the circumstances. So you did your best to safeguard and protect him and bring him back to me, but you circumstances that it was not possible for you to do so. And so he acknowledged that point. And then he said, Call Allahu ala ma naqulu wakeel. And so he says, after they said this, he says, Allah is a witness and a watcher over all that we say. Here again, Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, he put the matter back in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He put the matter back. So even though they give him the commitment and he's sending his son, he's giving him the son to take with him, he put the matter back into the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He got the commitment from them, but he put his matter in the hands of Allah. And this is where we believers always put matters back in the hands of Allah. When we leave matters in the hands of Allah, Allah will always take it. وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. whoever put their trust on Allah, Allah will suffice them. Allah will suffice them. It's serious. I mean, this is lessons on this particular point here of putting trust and dependence on Allah and showing how Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam is trusting Allah to safeguard his son. He's trusting Allah in these matters. He's putting his trust in Allah because we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one can take care. He's the only one that has the power and the wherewithal. And we needed to know that, as Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith, he said, لو أنكم توكلون على الله حق توكله وقوله. He says, if only you would put your trust on Allah as is deserving, right? As is his right, or put your trust in Allah in the right manner. لَتُرْزَقُونَ كَمَا يُرْزَقُ الطَّيْرُ. You will be sustained just like how Allah sustained the birds. You will be sustained like how Allah sustained the birds. They go out in the morning with their stomachs empty, and then they come home with a stomach full in the evening. Allah takes them out, the birds, and we see the birds. Right? The birds put their trust in Allah. They don't have anything. The birds don't work. They ain't got no job. Right? So they get up in the morning, they sing their praises to Allah, then they jump off their nest and they go. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes them to wherever He has their food for them. He takes them there, they eat their fill, and then they go back home. So they depend on Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes care of them. Prophet says, if only you put your trust in Allah as this is right to do so, then Allah will take care of you. Just like how we take care of the birds. He will take care of you like how we take care of the birds. So once we utilize the means at our disposal, we should learn to put our trust in Allah. Don't worry about it after that. Because of that bad, don't worry about it after that. Leave it in the hands of Allah. Allah can take care of it. Once you do what you have to do, because some people don't know to do that. Right? They do everything, but they still worry about it. Yeah, but then you don't leave it with Allah then. If you can worry about it, then it means that you don't really trust Allah. You must know that Allah SWT takes care of stuff. For who has Allah suffices him. That's why Allah tells us in the He says, Man yatawakkal Allah.
For husband.
Who hasbu? No, he says in the ayah, one who, I forget the ayah that comes to me. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in many ayahs of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about putting your trust in him. And once you put your trust in him, he take care. He taught us, that's the dua that we say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Yes. There's what he taught us to say. Right? And the Prophet gave us the hadith. He says, that he used to say, and the individual is required to say this. We say this 6-7 times in the morning. And in the evening, Hasbi Allahu la ilaha illahu alayhi tawakkaltu wa huwa rabbul arshil azim. We say this 7 times in the morning, we say 7 times in the evening. Allah SWT suffices you for the night and he suffices you for the day. All right? So that's the dua that I think about. I forget the ayah that Allah SWT I wanted to quote this now. It came to me and then it just slipped my head. Allah SWT knows best. But the point that we want to close on this is that we have to learn how to put our trust in Allah by doing what Allah SWT, fulfilling the means that Allah placed at our disposal, and then letting it go. Then letting it go. This is the problem with many people. We don't know to let it go. We don't know how to let go. You know, if you put it in Allah's hand, leave it there. Let him hold it. You don't want to, you know, you put it in Allah's hands, but you keep it still. You know, leave it in Allah's hands. And for certain, Allah will sort it out.
يجعل له مخرجا من
Yeah.
توكل على الله يجعل
Yeah.
له مخرجا.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So this is the important principle that we should take from this particular points here in showing this one here. Learning how to put our trust in Allah. And know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care once you do that. Once you do that, Allah will take care. He sorts things out. You know, and anyone who tries it, you see it works. Right? It works. You know, I can guarantee that because I've seen it happen so many times. So many times. You learn to put your trust in Allah. All right? I'll just mention one incident and we close off in showing that, you know, in our experiences. In my early days, we were doing Islamic work. Islamic work has been my life for many years. It's been part of my life as a Muslim. And I committed my life doing Islamic work, and I've been doing that. And so sometimes in the early days of doing Islamic work, I traveled a lot. I used to go around, conducting classes and programs and training sessions and stuff. And I traveled, you know, sometimes even country to country sometimes. So I was gone a lot. And I left my wife and my kids home when we were in Guyana. When I lived in Guyana. And I leave and we go all over the country doing Islamic work. Or I have to go to other countries. Right? I used to travel all over through the Caribbean, all over Central America, right through, you know, Belize, Panama, all over. Even doing Islamic work, even coming North America and doing lectures and stuff like that. So I used to, you know, do a lot of travel at one point in my early stages. You know, my family was still young, you know. It was just my wife and I only had 2 kids at the time. But I leave her there, right? With the kids, you know, she's on her own. Because we didn't have any family in Guyana. We don't have any family there. We just moved there to do Islamic work, you know, so we didn't have any family. And living there. So one occasion, I had to go out to raise funds for a special program that we were doing. We did a program called Special Islamic Course, where we have an intensive 1-year training program for brothers. An intensive 1-year training program that we did for brothers. And so we had to go out and try to raise some funds to conduct that program. The first program, we had it funded. The second program, we had to go out and get some funds. So I had to travel. You know, I went to Saudi, went to Kuwait, different places like that, trying to raise funds for the program, because the program costs quite a bit of money to run it, to house people for 1 year and to feed them and take care of them and stuff and do an intensive training program. It costs some money. So we had to try to raise the money to cover it. And I left my wife there with the kids, so we gone. And in those days, it was pretty rough living in Guyana because things were really rough. It was a socialist country at the time, and things were rough. So you had a lot of people would break into people's homes, and people would rob you, and it was a terrible time. It was a terrible time in those days. And when I came back, she told me of one incident that happened when we went out. That these 3 fellas came to rob the house. And they came in the night. And in those days, you had to put, you had to lock your door and put, bolts on it and everything on it. And so my door, my front door, and my back door, it was locked, but I had at least about 3 bolts on it. So, to deter people from coming in, and she said that they came and they tried the front, they tried the back, and they're moving between the front and the back door. And they were just rocking the door, rocking it like this. And she woke up to them rocking the door. And we had one sister who stayed over to keep her company. And they're rocking the door all the time to try to break the door open. And she got up and she's terrified. Right? She's terrified in the house. It's just she and the sister who was keeping her company and my 2 young kids there. And it is crazy. She don't know what to do. And she screams, she called, but when people rob me, people don't come out. They were right next door, and the neighbor right on the other side. But when people come to rob your house, nobody looks out, nobody do anything because they're scared that the people might shoot them. So they don't do, nobody helps you. All right, so you're on your own. So there she's on her own to call it. Nobody's gonna help. And she says she screamed, she called until she got hoarse. And then she cut herself. And she, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring her to her senses. And she realized, look, there's nothing you can do. This is a situation I don't have no control. When I brought to that realization, this is a situation over which I have no control. There's nobody coming to help me. And these people, they go from the front door to the back door and they're rocking the doors all the time. And sooner or later, they might be able to break the door open. I have no control. I only have Allah. And so she says, she made dua. She says, Allah, my husband gone out to do Islamic work. He gone out to work for Islam, and I ain't got nobody except you. So, I need you to protect us. Please protect us. She said a calmness came over her. She went back to bed and let her go to sleep. She don't know what happened after that. The next morning she got up and on the back door there was about a 1/4 inch left on one bolt. All the bolts had fly. And only one, but 1/2 inch was left on one. That meant that after they shake a little bit more, that one also would come out. But, just 1/2 inch was left on the bolt. One bolt that was left for them to break in. She just, that calm came over her after she made dua to Allah. Calm came over her. And she said, now it's in the hands of Allah. She put it in the hands of Allah. She went back to sleep. And when she got was just 1/2 inch left on the door. Allah SWT said, God protected her. So, and I can tell you a number of stories like this. Right? And tell you a number of stories like this in my experience in doing Islamic work. That you learn to put your trust in Allah. And there's so many circumstances that only Allah can control. Only Allah. And so when you get those situations, you put your trust in Allah and you don't bother. You don't worry about it because you know. That's the case of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He's in the cave. Abu Bakr is terrified because he can see the people's foot. He can see the feet of the people. Right? And he's terrified that these people catch them and kill the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he says, Ya Abu Bakr, Man, bad. What do you think? What's your condition? Right? That when there are two, Allah becomes the third. Ya Abu Bakr, la tahzan. Don't be sad. Inna Allah ma'ana. Allah is with us. Don't worry about it. Abu Bakr, don't worry about it. It's okay. Allah got this one. Allah has this one. Don't worry about it. Allah has this one. You know, and he's cool. And Abu Bakr said the Prophet is cool and calm. He's burning up and the Prophet is cool and calm. Allah got this. Put this trust in Allah. You know, he said that when that in the earliest people, some of the companions would stay and watch the Prophet's house just to make sure, you know, security, provide security for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? Provide security for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they used to come in, stay up, watch the house, you know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the gardens. And he said that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayah, Ya ayyuha Rasul, O Messenger, Balligh ma unzila ilayk. Right? Proclaim what Allah has revealed to you. What has been revealed to you from your Lord. Proclaim it. Tell it. Wallahu ya'asimuka minan nas. And Allah will safeguard and protect you from the people. Allah has taken over your security. Prophet they said, Prophet told the companions, you go home and sleep with your family. You can go home and take care of your family. Don't worry about it. Allah subhanahu has taken charge. You know, Allah is not the security. Don't worry about it anymore. Allah has taken over my security. Please, you can go home and sleep. This is trust. I mean, we got to learn that level of trust. That, you know, we don't know what can happen. Right? We don't know what can happen. We don't know how it's going to work out, but that's not important. What is important is that we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in own control circumstances, and He can do whatever He wants. May Allah make it easy for us. Any quick question before you wrap up?
Yes. I have talking about trust in Allah. This dua, Allahumma akfinihim bima shi'ta. Is it?
That's the dua of the young boy who was the magician, the magician.
Okay.
Right? When the king had the magician, and he trained the boy, and the boy, when the king sent, the boy would say, Allahumma kfinihim bima shi'ta, Allah, suffice me of them with what pleases you. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would save the boy, would cause the other people to the thing and save the boy. Now, it was a dua of things. This is is in relation to the story of the king. Of you find it in the Riyadh al-Salihin. So the stories is in Riyadh al-Salihin. Yeah, it's a long hadith.
What surah was that you just mentioned?
Huh?
The surah you just mentioned.
The one that we're doing here?
No, the one you just did mention it. Spatial trust in Allah. The last statement you made before you asked the question.
There are a number of different surahs we mentioned. There's a number of different ayahs that we mentioned.
When you said go see your family, get with your family.
That was the ayah. I don't remember the ayah. I can look it up for you. I don't remember it. Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik. O messenger, proclaim what your Lord has revealed to you. Wallahu ya'asimuka minan nas. If you don't, then you would not have conveyed the message. Wallahu ya'asimuka minan nas, and Allah will safeguard you from the people. So I can look it up for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
when they said, trust in Allah, right? Like, do we fall short in that? Like, trust in Allah? Because the man goes up and down, right?
Yeah. When you fall short, I mean, you learn to put your trust in Allah. That we should depend on Him. As I said, we utilize the means that He placed at our disposal, and then we learn to put trust on Him, to put the matter in His hands, and don't worry about it, and He will take care of it.
So,
Right? You don't worry about it, because if you can say, I put my trust in Allah, and then you worry about it, you really put your trust in Allah.
sometimes that happened to me, but
Yeah, well,
it happened, but I make dua, right?
May Allah make it easy for you. And make it easy for all of us.
I made dua, right? And, I put my trust in Allah.
Yeah.
So sometimes I see
It's Maida.
people
Surah Maida. Surah Maida.
They don't have money.
Maida.
It happened yesterday.
67. Ayah
So I
67.
gave him something, but he always comes. The brother said, "Get out the store because you
67.
can't give him a
67.
Yeah, put your trust in Allah. I mean, Allah will sort it out now.
Number 6.
You know, clearly when you get examples,
The ayah.
fish. You gotta go fish to get the fish.
Maida.
You know exactly when to do everything you can do, and when to stop and you need to do a lot of stop.
You do all that's possible for you to do. All that is possible for you to do. Because Allah does not expect any impossibility from you. La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah does not expect any impossibility from us. He knows our capacity. He knows what we're capable of doing. So we utilize the means that we do whatever we can. And then leave the rest, that which beyond your ability to do, leave it in the hands of Allah and don't worry about it. Tawakkal Allah. Leave it in the hands of Allah. Allah will sort it out. Don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up about it. No, just leave it in the hands of Allah. طيب سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah.
Last statement. Everything is reasonable.
Yes.